logic.
Thank you. Good morning. This is the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin Council meeting on Wednesday, July 6, 2022, commencing at 9 a.m. Calling the meeting to order at 9 o'clock. Carla, would you do the roll call, please?
Mayor Dumas,
Here.
Councillor Collins,
I'm here.
Councillor Florent,
Here.
Councillor Harper,
Here.
Councillor Bongo,
I'm here.
Councillor Shala,
Here.
Councillor Rodnick,
Here.
Thank you, Carla. All members of council are present. I will do the land acknowledgement now. We acknowledge that we are gathered on the unceded traditional territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe people, specifically the Madawaskarini people of the Madawaska River. We further acknowledge that the Algonquin people have been stewards of this land since time immemorial, and we strive to treat the land along with the flora and fauna it supports, the people, their customs and traditions, with honor and respect. Today, this area is home to people of all walks of life, and we acknowledge the shared opportunities and responsibilities to live, work, and survive in this beautiful territory. Che Miigwech, all my relations. Agenda item number 4, are there any additions or amendments to the agenda?
Mayor Dumas, I just want to simply state there had been the last meeting we had, there had been intent to bring forward a resolution to surplus 2 pieces of fire equipment. Unfortunately, the new pieces have not come into service yet, so we've delayed bringing forward that resolution until they come into service, knowing that there will be a need for another special meeting sometime before the end of the month of council.
Thank you very much for that update, Brian. So we understand that will be brought forward at a later time. Thank you. We would then go to the resolution for the adoption of the agenda. Carla, if you could go ahead, please, with the mover and seconder. Do we have a
sorry,
No, you go ahead.
I require a mover
I'll move it.
and a seconder.
I'll second it.
And go ahead.
Moved by Councillor Shala, seconded by Councillor Rodnick, that council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin adopts the agenda as circulated for the regular council meeting of July 6, 2022.
Calling for that passing, please raise your hand. Carla, can you see everyone that's carried? Thank you. Thank you. Agenda item number 6, any member of council wish to disclose pecuniary interest? Hearing none. We are very pleased this morning to have Jonas Charnick with us, the owner and producer at the Banana Moon Sky Films Incorporated. We've heard and staff have met with Jonas in the past few weeks. And so we felt it expedient to extend an invitation for Jonas to join us in our meeting so that he could put faces to members of council should he see them out and about, or perhaps in his extras in his movie. Anyway, Jonas, thank you so much for joining us. And you sound, anything I've seen where you've been asked or spoken about South Algonquin, it has always been with enthusiasm and I think maybe pure delight. And I'd like you to know that everyone around this table shares that attitude towards South Algonquin as well. So welcome. And I think you are probably able to see all members of council. So we would be delighted if you could just give us a little background so we as council and mayor can spread the good word about your production. So please go ahead, Jonas.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me and for inviting me, and just for the warm welcome that I've had from all of the vendors that I've spoken to in Whitney, the townsfolk, the homeowners who are renting us their houses. Across the board, everybody has just been so amazing and welcoming to me and my production. I'll try not to go, too deep, ask an actor to talk about themselves, and it could be a commitment. I'm not shy, but I'm an actor first and foremost. I've been in a lot of television and films over the years, about 25 years. And I every couple of years I make a film. that I write screenplays in my spare time when I'm not acting in television shows or movies, and then I produce these movies. And I've done 6 of them to date. This will be my 7th film, and my films have done well. They've sold around the world. Some of them have been remade in certain countries, and you may have seen them on Netflix or on Crave. And I'm very excited to be coming and filming my next movie in your area. I fell in love with it years ago when I first visited Algonquin Park and came down through Whitney. My kids go to camp at Camp Erewhon up in the park. And the story that we're telling in this movie, the movie's called The Time We Met, and it's a sort of tragic romance about a love affair that happens up at a cottage resort up in the region. And so I've been looking at all kinds of locations up there in the park, in Whitney. It made sense for me to put my cast and crew in Whitney. It just felt like it was central to where we wanted to make the movie. We haven't completely figured out where we're going to film everything. There's a lot of moving parts, but certainly Councillor Bongo has been so amazing and cooperative and welcoming to us, and his property is beautiful, and we're looking at that as a serious option, and some of the other locations around Whitney. I should say that for those of you that don't know, this is not a large Hollywood style production. When you think of a movie coming to town, I want you to think, I don't want you to think about the trailers and the trucks and the exhaust fumes and the noise. I make my films, mostly they're very small, they're very contained, they're very non-disruptive. We have a total crew of 25. That is a fraction of what these movie shoots usually have here that film in Toronto or in the area, and really just a handful of actors. And with the exception of the wedding scene that we've all heard about, because we're looking for the extras, that's the only day where we'll have more than that. So we hope, our hope is and our commitment is to bring a little industry to Whitney, market the town. When I take this movie around the world, my films play at film festivals all across Canada, from coast to coast. It's going to screen on CBC. We've already sold the movie to CBC and a couple of other networks. And I travel to film festivals all around the world. I will talk about Whitney, and I will share. This is my promise to you, is my returning the favor of your welcoming me, as I will promote the town and talk it up everywhere I go. I do think there's a magic and a charm to the area of South Algonquin, not just Whitney. I've been around to the other towns as well. The whole area. I'll make sure to reference the township of South Algonquin and not just where we're going to be filming around Whitney. But my plan is that we will come and we will make our film there, and everyone will have a great experience, and you'll be happy that we came. And I just like to keep the lines of communication open. If anyone ever has any questions or ideas or suggestions or thoughts, please feel free to reach out to me directly. I'll make sure that my email address and phone number can be distributed to the councillors and everyone else on the council. And and if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer them now if that's the time, or if you need to move on in your agenda, I understand. So I'll leave it in your hands.
Well, thank you, Jonas, very much for your kind words and for the excitement that you're bringing to Whitney and South Algonquin. So any members of council have anything they'd like to ask Jonas or to give him any tips? If you can, just speak up. I don't have view of everyone, so. No? Okay.
Well, great. I'll say this one more thing. I've already reached out about some things to Brian and the staff at the township, and they've been so helpful. Things may come up where, as we get closer to production, which starts 7 weeks from Monday is when we start to roll cameras. There may be unusual things that I wish we had this for this scene, and I feel there's an opening here where I can kind of just put the word out and say, hey, does anyone want to get involved? We need I don't know, like we need to rent a wedding tent for the wedding scene. Does anybody have one that they might want, something like that? That's an actual thing that we will need. So those kinds of things might come up, and I'd love to just sort of throw those things out, and if anybody wants to get involved, I'm happy to have more voices or ideas or suggestions along the way. And thank you again to everybody for welcoming us so openly, and I think it's going to be a really fun experience.
Thank you. And we are all available by our email, so certainly Brian can provide those for you, because we are a very resourceful group of individuals around this table and in the building, and the community as well. So I don't think there's anything that you might want that probably can't be found somewhere in South Algonquin. So feel free, Jonas. And
I will. I'll take you up on that for sure.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so very much. You're welcome to stay and see municipal politics in action, or I'm sure you have other things you have to do. So,
well, as much as that might inspire my next screenplay, I do have a movie to produce, so I'm going to drop off now, and I look forward to meeting all of you in person, for those of you who I haven't yet met.
All right. Thank you, Jonas. Take care.
Thank you. Okay.
Bye-bye. Okay, thank you. So we're now at agenda item number 8, the minutes of previous meetings. And we have the adoption of the minutes of the regular council meeting of June 1st, 2022. So if we could have that resolution for that one, please, Carla.
Mover, please,
I'll make the motion.
and a seconder.
I'll second it.
Moved by Councillor Florent, seconded by Councillor Harper, that council for the corporation of the Township of South Algonquin adopts the minutes of the regular council meeting of June the 1st, 2022 as circulated.
All in favor? It's carried. And the second set of minutes, adopt the minutes of the Human Resources Administration and Public Relations Committee meeting of June 22nd, 2022. Go ahead, please.
A mover, please,
I'll move it.
and a seconder.
I'll second it.
Moved by Councillor Collins, seconded by Councillor Shala, that council for the corporation of the Township of South Algonquin adopts the minutes of the Human Resources Administration and Public Relation Committee meeting of June 22nd, 2022 as circulated.
Calling the vote, all in favor? It's carried. Thank you. Agenda item number 9, we're at committee, staff, and council reports. That's our blue section of the package. So our first report is the fire report. And do we have Chief Collins present? Sorry.
He is here. I just don't know. He doesn't. He is most definitely here and ready. So I'm just
right.
going to go and shout.
Okay, thank you, Sandra.
Connection drops off. Did you hear that? He's just trying to reconnect now. So give him a moment.
Okay,
If
great.
you want to go back to him.
We could go to the library report and then come back, or we'll just wait a second or two. Okay. All right. While we're waiting for Chief Collins to connect, maybe Councillor Harper, would you like to take us through the library report? Okay.
Yes, I wasn't, I was unable to attend that meeting.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not quite sure what has transpired.
Okay. Well, do you want me to go just run down through it then, David, or?
If you wish, are there any questions?
Okay, that's good. I'll leave that to you then. Okay, good.
I have one comment about there was some concern at the library board meeting, and I see it in the minutes, about the fuel in the lantern. Apparently, the custodian has taken care of it, but I've found out in the meantime that that was simple lamp oil in that, so it certainly wasn't a hazardous material. I think they thought it was kerosene.
Okay,
Yeah,
It was lamp oil.
Yeah.
okay. Great. I appreciate that clarification because that sort of stuck to me when I read this report. So, all right. And was there any other items? I know, Brian, the staff had some conversation with you in regards to the fiber optic cable in Madawaska. Is that correct? There seems to be
Yes.
discussion out there as to some aspects of that. Is there anything you could provide in regards to that?
Apparently there's a service provider that's going to be in a position to put fiber into the library in Madawaska. They've got a grant that'll cover the operational costs and for the first year, and it covers any costs associated with installation. But the second year, it's a fairly substantial difference in what they would currently be paying. Of course, they'll get a lot more for it. I think I actually had suggested they may want to continue to budget for that 1 year for their costs of internet in order to help offset the cost of the internet in the following year.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, thank you. Any questions in regards to any items in this report then? Okay, hearing none, has Chief Collins been able to join? Maybe not. Okay. Sorry, I'll continue. The next report is, we have a written report from the CEMC, Brian Acne, in regards to the EMO Spring Sector Meeting. I don't know if there are any questions. Brian isn't present, but it certainly looks like the reorganization and building up of the resources for emergency management in the Eastern region is ongoing. And that was basically what I took away from it. Are there any questions from council in regards to this? And we will have a resolution later. It's mentioned in this report in regards to asking that consideration be given to municipalities that have actually had to enact their emergency management plan during a year, not to have to do a tabletop exercise. And I believe we have brought that resolution forward for later on in the council meeting. So that follow-up has occurred. Okay. The next report. All right, we're now at the reports that have been brought forward by Tracy in regards to some cleanup and some things that have to happen in regards to planning. So Tracy, would you like to take us through this section, please?
I'm actually going to be acting in behalf of Tracy as she's away on vacation this week.
Right.
I guess as a follow-up, we went through and cleaned up the agreement for the last discussion with council. Got it revised with all of the content that council had agreed to based on the notes that we had made through the process. We are now bringing back that final version, or what we believe to be the final version of that agreement, for council to give us direction to send it ahead off and get the concurrence of the landowners, or the boathouse owners, to sign off on that, so we can bring it back as a bylaw then to council for final ratification.
Okay, thank you. And the next item.
Sorry, can I ask a question about the boathouse agreement?
Oh, sure. Go ahead, Councilor Bongo. Please speak up. I can't see everybody all at the same time, so just let me know when anyone needs to make a question or whatever. Go ahead, Councilor Bongo.
Absolutely. If Brian could just summarize, so I see that section 18 has been shrunken or abridged, and if you could just summarize what the how that went about.
That I actually don't even have the agreement in front of me now. Just give me 1 second.
It's on page 30 of the package.
Yeah, it's on page 30. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. That helps. because the agreement for some reason is not directly attached.
Right there. Yeah.
So page 30 of the package. And.
So that was just simplified.
Number 18?
Yeah, all of that was, and then there's a new section 18.
Yeah, we just felt that based on the discussion at council and the changes that were made to the content of the agreement, that this just became redundant.
Okay.
And because of the redundancy of it, we just removed it, and we felt there was no point in continuing on with having that language in there.
Okay.
When we'd already put language in another location.
Okay, great. So it was just a wash then.
Yeah.
Super.
Thank you.
That's all for me.
Thank you, Councillor Bongo. Anyone else then? All right. All right, Brian, then go to the next one, please.
Do we want to continue? Chief Collins is now with us.
Oh, okay, certainly. That's great. We could go back to Chief Collins. That's excellent. Fire Department report. All
Good
right,
morning,
well,
everybody. I'm sorry for the technical difficulties. My computer dropped off the connection and then it just won't reconnect to Zoom. Meanwhile, I'm getting Councillor Collins shouting messages at me from one room to another. You know, we've got to get a divorce. We've got to live in two separate houses. Anyway, the monthly report. This was dated the 29th of June. It starts off with the training courses. On the 14th of June, we had our second joint training session with both Whitney and Madawaska units taking part. It was intended and planned to be a cross-training session where both departments got to work the other department's equipment, so that it doesn't matter what equipment we turn up at a fire scene with or who turns up, everybody would be fully trained in that equipment. That was the intention. However, with the arrival of the two new fire trucks, it quickly became evident that we needed to work up the two new trucks to bring them online as quickly as possible. So the whole session really became a work-up session with people trying to scrounge equipment, find equipment, get equipment to make them work. Because the biggest problem we suffered is that the two pieces of equipment that we bought came with no caps on any of the tanks. So as fast as we were putting water in one end, it was pouring out another. And while we've ordered the new caps, they hadn't arrived. So we were frantically trying to scrounge bits of equipment from all the different fire trucks that we had at the scene. But I'm pleased to say that the equipment worked fantastically well, and I'll come back to that later on in my report. Under training and courses, I also undertook a self-study course with the Ministry of Transport, and that was in an effort to improve our rate of return from the MTO for attending any form of motor vehicle collision on the numbered highways. I'm not sure if all councillors are aware, but the MTO has a system whereby they can reimburse you for time and equipment spent at scenes on a numbered highway. In the past, we've had claims put into the MTO and they have been declined, or they weren't correctly filled out to the MTO's. Believe it or not, it's a government bureaucracy, and they don't make it easy for you to get your money back. We've not had a lot of success in the past, but I'd like to report further on that later on in my report. You can see that there were a number of calls and incidences over the month of June that we've been called to. I'm pleased to say they were less than May's month, which seemed to be extraordinarily busy. Does any councillor have any questions about any of the particular fire calls that I can answer in detail? If not, I'll move on to tell you that the only complaints and concerns were regarding the burn indicator boards. I'm now pleased to say that my understanding is from the various team members that have been around changing the boards and myself that all the burn boards have now been changed to indicate a nighttime burn. On the 29th of June, I went to Pembroke to their new fire station there to see an equipment demonstration, mainly detailing nozzles, monitors, like the end of the hose that squirts. I learned an awful lot there. Technology has moved on amazingly over the last few years. And my main emphasis there was trying to learn from the manufacturers that were demonstrating is basically how we can do more with less, how we can fight more of the fire with less water, because up here, that's our big problem, is getting enough water to the fire scene. And some of their new nozzles, I'd like to call them sort of energy saving nozzles, to put it in the fine point. they still managed to produce a hell of a lot of power, but with a minimal amount of water usage. So it's quite possible that in the next year or so, you know, I will be purchasing some new nozzles. And one of our fire trucks for sure needs a new monitor. That's the what looks like a water cannon on the top. When it came from Ottawa, they'd actually stripped the nozzle bit that actually squirts off. So I was delighted to be able to see some of the new stuff being demonstrated at Pembroke. And I'm really grateful to the Pembroke Fire Department for facilitating that day. And I've got to tell you, if you haven't seen the new fire hall, oh, amazing. I'd like to think our township would have the money to build a fire hall like that, but, you know, maybe if we win the 649, you know.
I have seen it, Ian. It's absolutely.
You've seen it?
Yes, it's amazing.
It's stunning. Absolute. I mean, it's not over equipped. They don't have a city style stuff, but what they have is amazingly well laid out, well structured. Yeah. What can I say? It was beautiful. 1st of July, I know it's skipping ahead, but 1st of July, both fire halls were responsible for setting off the fireworks for the relevant recreation committees in Madawaska and Whitney as part of the Canada Day celebrations. I was helping the people at Madawaska, and I know I've received some very, very, very appreciative comments from both council and members of the public regarding the display at Madawaska. I haven't heard anything from Whitney, but as I haven't heard a 911 call, I'm kind of guessing it all went off very well. Moving on to the correspondence and others. So I referred earlier that I did a training course with the MTO to help try and improve our rate of return for claims. And I'm very pleased to say that for the month of June, the MTO paid back the township $5,098.92. When I wrote and submitted this report, I still had 2 other claims outstanding. And not to preempt July's report, I've actually received notification that both of those claims have now been approved. And in July, I am expecting the township to receive a payment of $5,863.76 from the MTO. As a small aside, if that money does arrive, it actually means I've earned, or the township fire department has earned for the township more than what you paid me in salary, which I think is a bonus. One of the earlier calls you would have seen back on the, excuse me one moment. Yes, 21st of June, the Madawaska team got called to Holstein Street to a smell of gas. The team went there and using the Mark I nose, they actually managed to trace the source of the gas leak to the furnace at the house. Naturally, they shut the furnace off, shut the gas, did all the usual safety checks. But when I got a report of that, what became evident to me is that we don't have any equipment for smelling anything other than CO. We carry CO monitors on the trucks, and we can monitor the level of CO inside a building, but we have no other facility. I've actually ordered, purchased, and they've arrived, and I'll be training the teams next week and the week after with using it, portable gas detectors. And these devices are capable of smelling out natural gas, gasoline, propane, butane, ethanol, ammonia, methane, naphtha, and ammonia. Very, very, very simple piece of equipment to use. I honestly believe that once I've shown the teams how they work and how we can test them prior to using them, that's it. They'll just be on the trucks and will enable us to smell out any other problems that people are having inside their houses. Great. So on to the new trucks, the Fort Garry pumper that's coming to Madawaska, that's passed its safety and emission testing. And I'm very grateful to Murray's Woodyard. The machine is now sitting at Murray's Woodyard, waiting to be commercially cleaned, shall we say, and ready to be brought into service. The GMC mini pumper that's at Whitney is still waiting tyres and brakes to be finished. The 4 drive tyres have arrived, and we're just waiting for the 2 steering tyres to arrive. Once all the tyres are here, obviously the wheels have come off, the tyres will be changed, the brakes will be done, and then hopefully that should then pass safety. There were no other issues. And as soon as that's done, that will be brought into service. It is currently sitting at McRae's Woodyard, who obviously, because most of their works department, garage works department are associated with the fire department, they've taken a great personal interest in bringing that machine online as quickly as possible. They've undertaken to do some of the mechanical work there. And while it was there, I was there the other week seeing it, and they had some spare time. So they've actually taken on the paintwork there. And I'm incredibly grateful to McRae's Woodyard for their help and assistance with painting the damage that was on the truck. The damage was not structurally damaged. It was purely where Ottawa removed all of their sticky decals. They actually ripped some paint straight off the truck and took it down to bare metal. And McRae's are currently painting all of that. I did have the appointment with Nature by Design to work on the vehicle decals. Hopefully that should be completed within the next 4 weeks. My intention is to bring the trucks online and in service with or without the decals. They can be done at a later date when the vehicles are at their appropriate fire halls. I was due to have an appointment with the body shop owner to assess the paintwork required for both trucks. The work at McRae's has sort of bypassed that. And as the Madawaska truck only requires a very small amount of touch-up paint around 2 wheel arches, I've decided to undertake that work myself, and thereby saving the township probably quite a lot of money from taking it to a professional body workshop and being able to bring the vehicles online in a much quicker time frame. As I said, both fire trucks attended the recent practice, and eventually we managed to get the sufficient caps to block all the holes. And I'm delighted to say that all the pumps on the trucks actually ran beautifully. The Whitney truck needed some new UV joints on the power takeoff shaft, and McRae's are underdoing that as we speak. Other than that, we're anticipating no further problems. Once once the missing caps have arrived and all the equipment has been transferred from one vehicle to another, and we're about to bring them in service, I plan then to have the Battle Shield, our pump company, come and undertake the pump testing. It's by coincidence, the 2 major pumps, one at Madawaska, one at Whitney, are both due their annual pump testing in July anyway. So it would mean I'll be able to bring all 4 machines online on the same day and have their pumps tested, and hopefully we'll have no further problems there. The Works Department has started the work on the installation of the 3 new dry hydrants. And lastly, just the tag on the bottom, I understand we're still waiting for a missing part for the 3rd phase of the pump installation at Madawaska. It's just a safety backup system that the plumber wanted to fit to make sure we never had a problem with it in the future. And we're still waiting for a piece of equipment to arrive. COVID and everything else is obviously delaying it all. That is the end of my report. If council has any questions, I'll be pleased to answer them.
Any questions? Not hearing any, Chief Collins.
Thank you,
Okay,
Chief.
just last, you're very welcome. Lastly, I'm actually planning on giving fire prevention talks to both Aileen Lake and the Cross Lake communities as well in the near future.
Great. Well, thank you very much. What an awesome amount of accomplishment for the fire department. And thank you very much for your direction. And you just keep hitting MTO as much as you can, okay?
Oh, trust me. Now I know the rules of the game. I'm on it.
Way to go.
Thank you very much, everybody. I'll leave the screen and let Councillor Collins take over.
Thank you.
You just asked him. I didn't want to talk to you. He has something else now that's coming. So you don't need to get mad.
Okay. All right. All right. Let me see here now. We're okay. So we have to go back to the planning and building administrator reports, Brian, I believe.
Yes. So Tracy and I have been going through, of course, and we're officially have given notice of our official plan review. It's gone out today. But as part of that, there's also some housekeeping we've come up with that needs to be addressed within the comprehensive zoning bylaw. Primarily some amendments to mapping that we've noticed over time that are incorrect. So we're recommending that while we're proceeding with the official planning review, and we'll eventually get back to an official plan or a zoning bylaw review, that in the meantime that we proceed with some housekeeping. of the bylaw, the zoning bylaw, and the appropriate amendments there too.
Okay. Any questions in regard to this? All right, hearing none. Go ahead, Brian.
And we had a couple applications for shoreline sales, which are kind of standardized. So we brought forward both of the requests for purchase, and we're just bringing those forward for formal approval of council to proceed with the process.
Any questions on either of the shoreline purchases? All right.
I have a
hearing-
question on the
Oh.
one track
ahead.
lane. That's not, is it Councillor Rodnick?
Sorry?
One that's on Moose Track Lane, that's not your own, is it?
No, sir, it's not. It's 2 doors over.
Okay, I was just making sure that you weren't in conflict.
No. I was already prepared for that, Joe.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions or observations? All right. And Brian, the next is your report.
And of course, the last report that I have in staff reports is my own. That last meeting, we brought our bylaw officer back as a permanent full-time. We talked about the need for a vehicle for the bylaw officer. I undertook to go out and I spoke to a number of dealers. My primary objective in meeting with those dealers was, what do you have on the lot that you're able to sell me today? In many cases, they had nothing on the lot. In some cases, they had used vehicles that they wanted new pricing for, with used warranties of 90 days or a year on them. So after much searching, we found we got some formal quotes. And based on the formal quotes, Tim Summers from Summers Brothers in Killaloo has provided what we deem to be the best price that we could get on a vehicle that would meet the needs for the bylaw officer that was a new vehicle. And as such, I'm bringing that forward for council.
Are there any questions of Brian in regards to this?
I don't have a question, but I would recommend that we take the alternative number 2, and believe the report as it is and authorize them to go ahead with the purchase.
Thank you for that, Councillor Florent. I believe there is a,
motion.
I believe there's one in the package of resolution, Brian, right?
I do believe that that's been prepared by staff.
So thank you for that recommendation, Councillor Florent, and it will come forward then later as a resolution. So thank you. All right.
Mayor, I have a comment. I'm just wondering if, I'm not sure whether you've made arrangements or not, or possibly we should, is to have it crowned undercoating. So when I look at my own vehicle and I didn't get it crowned, I certainly wish I had it, because it's falling apart daily here almost. So there's always lots of salt on the roads. They don't melt off quick enough compared to the cities, and so we're driving around constantly in slush and salt. So it may just extend the life or make it look much better, and certainly be worth it, I think.
Councillor Shallow, we can certainly make that arrangement with Summers when we call them. As I say, the vehicle's on lot, available for immediate delivery. So it's a relatively short turnaround for us. And certainly if there's a desire to move forward with Crown, that certainly is not an unreasonable additional ask to have them do. I believe we can arrange to have that done before we take delivery.
Or you could make arrangements to have someone take it for service after you purchase it, one way or the other. I just think it should be. And I know we done I believe the garbage truck, or few of our plow trucks, or started to do them, and I'm just certainly hoping that we're continuing to do them each fall.
Yeah. I certainly support that. The mechanic that I go to, particularly in Northern Ontario, they're using the liquid on the roads. And I mean, the past winter of traveling to Ottawa and back and not having the ability of having a garage for my vehicle and washing it off. The mechanics are saying that it's doing a lot of damage to vehicles, this new solution that they're using on the highways. So, and this vehicle will be on the road a lot. So I certainly agree that that should be done for sure. So Brian, you'll follow up on that, of course. Thank you.
I certainly shall.
Okay. So were there any other reports, Brian, from yourself? No. So, okay. So we will now go. I just didn't, are there any councillor reports? I see from council, anything from committees or anything that you need to bring forward?
Nope.
Okay. Hearing nothing. Joe?
Oh, it's all right.
Okay. All right. If you change your mind. All right then. So we're at agenda item number 10, business arising from the minutes. Was there any business arising from the June 1st council meeting? Hearing none. And the second set of minutes was the June 22nd Human Resources Administration and Public Relations meeting. Any business arising from those? All right, hearing none. Agenda item number 11, any unfinished business? All right, hearing none. So number 12, agenda item number 12 is action items, and that's the red package of our council package. And the first one is the Allen Lake River Boathouse License Agreement. Any questions on that? We had gone through that at our HR and Admin Committee meeting. Okay.
Sorry, Jane, can I backtrack very slightly? Matters arising from the minutes of the HR is obviously with the reinstation or the re-employment of our chief building official. This has instigated, we have got to do a pay review, an equity pay review. And I know Mr. Martin is working on that with a consultant. So just to let council know that that is actually going ahead as quickly as we can get that in place, so that council are aware of that.
Thank you very much, Councillor Collins. Appreciate that update and look forward to that. Thank you. All right, and the second item in the action item was the Jewel Engineering 2022 road inventory and condition assessment. And any comments on that? That's coming through by law, I believe, as well.
Mayor, Councillor Schaller here. I read this over and it kind of, I wonder why the safety or the liability that we might be in, and regarding the speed limits. And I noticed we've managed to change Spectacle Lake from Highway 60 in and reduced it to 50, and it certainly makes sense. And the Allen Lake Road is 60 kilometers, and that all makes sense. But there's many of our roads that are gravel, that have extremely sharp corners, they're narrow, and they're, I would say, much more dangerous. And we're considering them as unposted at 80 or whatever, 80 kilometers. And to me, this, I don't know whether the provincial policy needs upgrading or what, but as far as, well, you just couldn't drive some of these roads, like Quebec Road, for example, at 80 kilometers, and Pastois Lake Road at 80. You couldn't even drive it in a snow machine in the winter months at 80. And the South Mackenzie Lake Road and Henry Coghlan Drive, for example, the road from the lodge at Hay Lake into the end going north, it says you can drive at 80. Man, it should be like a 40 with all the sharp corners and minimal visibility due to it. And it just puzzles me that we will accept that or that they want to suggest that to us. And I know when they look at it, they say, well, it's recommendations, or we don't have costs for a whole bunch of or dollars for repairing the roads, etc. But another one is like in Whitney, we have 40 kilometers on Gay Lake Road and 40 kilometers on Hay Creek Road. That all makes sense. But what's about the roads, the crescents around here? Birch Crescent and them, you couldn't drive them at the speed limit posted. Like the whole community itself should be 40.
Agreed.
And I just think it should be changed. And it should be posted. And I really think we should be re-looking at some of these roads, like Bennett Road is 80 and Lyle Lake Landing Road. Think about that. From the 523 into the docks, it says you can drive 80 kilometers. Can you imagine where you'd be if you were driving 80 kilometers there? Like I have a hard time accepting that. I know it's no fault of Dave's. He's just passing on a report that he hired people to do, but I think we should be asking some questions about this. I'm concerned about the township liability regarding that part of the report.
Thank you for that, Councillor Shala. And Brian or Dave, feedback, is there any way that we can impose our own speeds on our roads?
Certainly can. The correct place would probably be on a review of our level of service. And the unposted speed limit of 80 is a place marker. It's drive to road conditions. We're doing the sign survey is going on right now, and they're looking at our curves. So we can put some advisory signage as they recommend about the narrow and twisting roads. But certainly road by road, if we want to look at them next time we update the level of service bylaw, that would be the place to do that. They just assess what we have. And as Councillor Salas suggests, Spectacle Lake, when it was designed by an engineer, we looked at the curves, we looked at geometrics, and the engineer prescribed the change to 50. Also on Allen Lake Road, it was 60, but as part of that engineering design, they placed all of those signs for us in the correct legal positions. So when we do look at changing speed limits, we would have to post whatever speed limit that is suggested or recommended at the intervals that they're supposed to be at. So right now, unposted in Ontario is considered 80, but it is also drive to road conditions.
Okay.
And I'd certainly comment that I agree with Dave. The minimum maintenance standards bylaw that we have in place, that's the appropriate place for us to make any amendments the council may wish as it relates to the level of service on the road, which includes the speed limit. And that I actually had that on my radar that needs to be updated, and I was kind of waiting for this to come out because they've done some work that I'll take from it to put into the level of service bylaw for the minimum maintenance standard requirement. As well, right now we're undertaking the retroreflectivity sign review, which is part of that requirement, so we can incorporate all of that into the new minimum maintenance standard requirements. So I would highly recommend that review will be done as part of our review of the the requirements under the minimum maintenance standards, Ontario Reg 239, and that'll come forward to council again for input where we can correct any speed deficiencies that council feels there may be, and at which time we'll also have the opportunity to discuss the cost associated with the additional signage and how frequently they need to be placed to give council a better idea of what the implications are of making amendments to the speed limits on any of the given roads. This is certainly a start on our legislative requirements for asset management planning. which will be rolled into a much larger document during this year. They're working on it. Once this is done, they'll roll it in. And we'll be bringing back a more comprehensive document as well on all of the assets within the township for council to give further consideration to. Hopefully we'll have that before the election's done for council to review.
I would like
So-
to make one other comment.
Go ahead.
When Jewel Engineering individual attended our meeting, and they were going to, and it was indicated they were going to drive all the roads because I inquired about signage, hazardous signage that I thought was necessary, or I guess informative signage, I guess would be a better word. They were going to drive the roads. Well, I just cannot believe that they would give us a report if they were driving those roads, that they would say that they were 80 kilometers. There should have been a recommendation, I guess is what I'm saying, from Jewel Engineering, saying these roads, whatever condition they are not they're not it's not possible to drive them at 80 kilometers. So the information should be coming from them. We paid them to do a report. It sounds like they've consulted with our staff in various places in the preamble in the front there. So anyway, I guess I'm just thinking that they're slipping up, or somebody's slipping up, and we should be questioning that, to say it's their recommendations. We paid them to tell us what our conditions our roads are at and what has to be improved. And for them to send that back to us, I just can't accept that. I'm sorry.
Can I just put my 2 penneth in here? Speed limit signs of 80 means up to 80. It doesn't mean you have to drive it at 80. That is the maximum you should be driving at. And there are skilled drivers that could drive it at 80, I'm sure. But it's for people to drive no more than 80. I think we're just mushing around in the weeds here. It is a maximum speed limit, not you're to drive it at 80, because that would frighten the pants off of most people. But I know for one, I know several people that could manage any of those roads at 80. But it is a maximum speed limit.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're missing the point. I think what I'm trying to suggest is the engineers should be recommending to us that the speed limit should be reduced on a lot of these roads.
Mm-hmm. You're saying that a maximum of 80 as the suggested maximum is too much.
Oh, by far. It's some of them, some of those roads, 40 would be the maximum.
Yeah.
That's what, I guess what I'm trying to say.
So Brian,
within our community for public safety, like why the difference between Hay Creek Road and Gay Lake Road and all the side roads off it are not at 40. Like the community should be a certain speed limit and leave it at that. And if it's 40 good enough for Hay Creek Road and Gay Lake Road, it should be good enough for everything within the town of Whitney. And I'll leave my comments about Madawaska, but I would certainly hope the same thing would be in effect there. And these other roads, is what I'm saying, is they should not. We shouldn't even be suggesting to someone that they could drive 80. We should be informing them to drive 40 or whatever on some of these other roads that I've referred to here.
okay. So Brian, is this something we could consider? I mean, I think, and it's just by coincidence that I have driven one of our roads that is not paved recently and on a weekend, which is something I try not to do. And I met 2 vehicles, and to me, a gravel road has in some people's mind, a gravel road has no speed limit. It's like go as quickly as you can. And it was, in one instance, I felt that there was an accident that was going to happen that I think I prevented. So I certainly share Councillor's concern about the gravel roads in particular, so can we work forward with that, or do we have to go through this process and then go back and revise a plan?
I think that part of the challenge here is that they're adhering to provincial legislative responsibility. They're looking at our current minimum maintenance standards bylaw. They're saying your bylaw says it's unposted, it's an 80 because it's unposted. So they're using what is in place, and I can honestly say I wasn't here when they started the proposal for this, but I believe that, you know, changes of that nature were not within the scope of work for Jewel, and as such, they didn't give that recommendation. And we paid for a certain amount for a certain deliverable, and those were outside of the deliverable. That's not to say that we don't need to go back and revisit those. I absolutely agree. We need to go back and visit those. And they need to be amended and incorporated into our updated minimum maintenance standards bylaw. But this document is basically here's a snapshot in time of what you have, what it looks like, and what you need, without getting into the curvature of the road, the signs of the road, the speed limits on the road. These are all where you're at this moment in time based on what's on the ground. Dave, did you have a comment that differs or to add to that?
Just like to add to a little bit. So this report that the work that Jewel Engineering is undertaking has two parts. This is the road inventory and condition assessment. There's a separate report coming, which is the advisory sign recommendation and reflectivity inventory. So they are out driving the roads now, and they will be giving us the geometric data and advisory sign recommendations. So what form that takes, if it turns into a road that has very twisty, windy sections, we decide that, or council decides that they wish to put a different speed limit on it, or if we wish to just use advisory signage through certain sections, or advisory signage just at the entrance to the road from a major highway. Those are the kind of questions that we're going to have to bring to the table in the future, because everything comes with cost. And they did include under Appendix J sections of the Highway Traffic Act that address the unposted speed limit. So in built-up areas, the unposted speed limit, which means there's no signage at all, under the Highway Traffic Act is 50 kilometers in built-up areas and a maximum of 80 in unbuilt-up areas, and they're defined. The speed limit is not posted. I mean, there's no sign that says 80. Someone's trying to achieve 80. So when there's no sign, you certainly don't, legally should never exceed those speed limits on any sections. But under the Highway Traffic Act, you're obligated as a driver to drive to the road conditions safely. That may mean doing 40 or 30 or 20, but it's an unposted maximum. Because if you imagine how many rural roads there are in Ontario, not all municipalities can maintain 60-kilometer road signs every 500 meters down many roads. So that's why it's like that in the Highway Traffic Act. But the onus comes on the driver to drive safely when it's unposted, and also for them to know that in built-up areas not to exceed a maximum of 50 anywhere, and in unbuilt-up areas never to exceed a maximum of 80 anywhere.
I guess what I'm getting at is if I just take one more second here. I'm on these roads all the time. And as the mayor also indicated, there's people constantly driving around these roads that for the first time, they're looking at properties, they're looking for property, they just feel maybe that they should be driving. And what I'm saying is we should be concerned about the public safety end of it and letting them know that they should be reducing their speed from what we're referring to as a provincial standard.
All right. I think the concerns have been heard by staff, so we can leave it at that, and there will be another opportunity when the next report comes forward too, and the concerns hopefully will be considered as well. So
I have
Anything-
one more question, Dave. I don't know whether would be in this report or it'll come later at a bridge report. But the bridge on Algonquin Street, I guess, the second bridge in the town here, that annoying noise that's either causing wear or tear or something, that has to be driving the local people crazy around there. Do we not? Is there anything that can be done to change that banging that you can hear? You can hear it up at the medical center. You can hear it at the town if the river isn't flowing very fast.
It's a loose expansion joint, Councillor Shala, and I had BEI when they did the Erie Street trestle come in and have a look at it, and they've given me a budget number to bring forward. It's a little bit involved to get those that taken apart and resealed again. So I think it is something that we need to look at in, probably next year's budget to have that that expansion joint replaced. It's one of the bolts when it was placed in there. There's only about 4 of them in there, were never anchored properly, and as a result of large trucks going over, it has come loose from the wood member below, and it's making that piece of metal bounce in certain situations.
Okay, appreciate it, because it has, like I said, it's very annoying, and
it is on the radar to address.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
And when this document was presented by the gentleman from Jewel Engineering, excuse me, I complained about the methodology of description on Major Lake Road, and it hasn't been corrected. All the other streets in the township are measured from like Highway 60 in most cases, or Highway 127. Major Lake Road does not. You actually have to drive in 8 kilometers of the road and then measure back. It makes absolutely no sense at all. Most of the descriptions start from Victoria Lake Road, which is 8 kilometers from the highway, measured back to within 1 kilometer of the highway. I don't understand. I didn't understand it then, and the guy, he kind of sloughed it off a little bit, and it's still like that. I think it should be changed.
This is a document that can be changed. I could have them change that that measuring system.
Okay, all right. All right, anything else then? Dave, you'll look into that one and bring it back then. And any other comments? Okay, all right then. So we'll go to the next item on the agenda, and that is the correspondence for information. And I thank staff for bringing this forward. These are the first 6 items in the green package are reports from the District of Nipissing Social Services Advisory Board. And these packages contain information that that DSAP was bringing forward at this meeting in July, because DSAP does not meet in July and August, and our first meeting of DSAP will be the end of September of this year, and then we will be into election mode, sort of. So these reports kind of contain sort of the end of the 4-year term of this council reports, and they're there for your pleasure to read. And I'd just like to highlight a couple of things. The first report is the District of Nipissing Housing Corporation, and board members of the District of Nipissing Social Services Administration Board sit on the board of this organization as well, because it is under the management of the DSAB, and I sit on this committee as well. And they've given us their statistics for these. This is the corporation in North Bay that looks after all of the social housing that's under the jurisdiction of DSAP. And there are over 800 units throughout the area, not all in North Bay, but in other communities around. And the report there, it's how they got through 2021 and COVID, and it's very interesting. And it just, if you have time, you probably read them, but I certainly would highlight this as a report that you should read. They have their own staff expertise. When individuals move out of their apartment, the staff go in, do a assessment, and they do all the any refurbishing work that needs to be done on move out, etc. So they have asbestos specialists. They have a very knowledgeable group of staff. So I would certainly recommend that you look at that. And both North Bay Housing Corporation and the Social Services Board, the auditor reports are there, and they're pretty standard auditor reports, but they're comprehensive and they're clean auditor reports. So that you would know that. And in the regular board meeting agenda package, there was a report given by, let me see here, which one did I have written down for this? In that one. That was the report that was given by David Plumstead. And David Plumstead is the manager of planning, outcomes, and analytics for the District of Nipissing. And he has certainly put some very good information in there. And it's the accomplishments that DSAP has achieved over the last 4 years. And they're quite comprehensive. And it certainly is a very high quality organization. And David is the individual at DSAP who is doing the analysis of the current census information, and he will be bringing reports back on the census information as it comes forward. And at the last meeting, they did age distribution throughout the District of Nipissing area. So that's, North Bay, Mattawa, South Algonquin. And we have a beyond the provincial average in aging population. So those reports will be brought to you back to council as well, so that you can get the sense of the demographics of the area and things that that they will use when they go forward with their planning. I think that's pretty well it. They do have a really good report on Ontario Affordability Housing Task Force report, and it's there. And some of their recommendations are going to AMO and will be being brought to AMO at the provincial level in regards to the money that is going into housing and some of the conditions that the province is putting on those dollars. So I don't know if there were any questions or comments in regards to any of those reports, but they are comprehensive, and they will set the tone for where DSAP is now and where DSAP will probably be going or continue to go in their vast profile of Ontario Works. In one of these reports, I saw that they have increased the daycare places at the Whitney daycare up by 30. So that's a booming employer in our community that is providing a huge service to families with young children in our community, and it's being supported very much and used by families in all of South Algonquin. So those are my comments. I don't know if anyone has anything they wish to say, but certainly going forward, these are reports that will give you an indication of how things will be going forward in the future. So anyone have anything they'd like to comment on? Hearing that. And the last,
I have just, sorry, it's Councillor Collins. I have just one comment to sort of add to all of this. We still in this township are lacking for affordable housing for our seniors. We still have nothing. And I've read through all of this that DSAP have put forward, and there's nothing about taking care of our seniors in the population we have here in South Algonquin. Yes, they've highlighted that our average age is above the age for the northern area here, but still nothing indicating what they think they could do, what they think they should do, what we could possibly instigate as a township, I don't know. But we still have many, many seniors on their own in large housing in our community, and they can't afford to heat them the way the price of fuel is going. And they are going to be so in such a situation that I don't quite know what's going to happen to them come the fall when the heating prices come through. We have nothing in place for our seniors, And I do believe that this is a big issue for our township.
If I may, when this funding started to come through into the social services administration boards at the beginning of this term of council, they were very specific to urban area, that, housing in urban areas. And I, as your representative at the table, because we vote, and it's certainly there's representation of the North Bay City, but all the other areas. And I supported those recommendations because why would I not? We weren't going to get any of that money in South Algonquin at that point in time, but I made it well known at the point that I will support you now, but I will expect something down the road in return when the time is right. And COVID then came, and the housing was an issue, homelessness was an issue. There was, as with everything with COVID, it was like patch it up and get us through here. And North Bay did a great job, and they leveraged with working with their community partners, they leveraged housing situations where now they are working hard to get, that's fine. We can build a bricks and mortar, but you need the staff to run these places, and they're working on that as now well. But I have to say with some degree of confidence that South Algonquin is on their radar, and they know that South Algonquin has, that there was a commitment made in regards to supporting things that were happening in their area. And I think you will see things coming forward soon for South Algonquin. So that will be up to the next council, but I believe they will be bringing something back. And I don't know, Brian, if you want to elaborate any more on that.
Refreshing to hear. Refreshing to hear. Thank you.
Yeah, no, Jane, the council's knowledge, I've had several meetings now with the District of Nipissing Social Services Board, District of Nipissing Housing Corporation, and I actually last week had a meeting with the CIO of both the District of Nipissing Housing Corporation and the District of Nipissing Social Services Board, and we are working on some things. Things take time, but we understand there's government money out there that we're going to try and chase. We're going to start looking at putting together a local roundtable to help steer that. But we're just at the very beginning of planning stages to try and make something happen. And hopefully during the next term of office, we'll be able to say that we've had some success in something. I just can't say where it's going to go or where it's at the moment, just that we are having conversations at a staff level to try and bring something forward to the elected.
But thank you for bringing that up, Sandra. Very much appreciated. Any other comments in regards to the social services or housing corporation reports? Just okay. And the last item is just a letter. Well, it is a letter from the Municipal Association, just making the point that it's beneficial to municipalities, even if you can't hire a full-time engineer, that you're perhaps looking at partnerships with organizations that do have such services available. But Dave, I know that you do use professional engineers. I don't know if you have any comment on that, or Brian, in regards to that letter, just saying that it is a level of professionalism that municipalities should have available or should utilize in their projects. And I know we do. So I don't know, Brian or Dave, if you want to comment on that.
Dave's left, but certainly I think their primary interest here is municipalities participating as members of the Municipal Engineering Association. I think that their membership gets a stronger voice the more members they have. So I think there's a desire to motivate municipalities to ensure that our staff will work within the roles of doing our engineering type work, that they're active participants in the association. But as you say, generally, more so than not, those are professional engineers in larger urban centers. And that's probably why there's a lot of us that aren't regular members of the association, although we do reach out and do what we can with them to move things forward that are of interest to the mutual parties.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, so we will go to the next section of the agenda. Excuse me, new business agenda item number 14 is a bench in memory of Donnie Cole, and who will be speaking to that?
I think I was approached by the rec committee here in Whitney. They'd like to put 2 benches in down at the park. We just finished putting in those community gardens down there. Now they'd like to put a couple of benches down there. They've got some money from their association that they'd like to spend towards it. And they just like council's permission to be able to place them there. My only caution to Mr. Avery was that in fact, we made sure we consulted with Dave prior to any placement to ensure that we didn't create some additional operational issues down there. But certainly I advised him to bring his ask back to council for concurrence that they had no concerns with it.
Any discussion from council?
No.
This was the point that I was going to bring up before when you said the comments about committees. The Recreation Committee in Madawaska has just installed a bench in memory of Josephine Lentz at the Tom and Mick Murray Park. So if this Recreation Committee here wanted to have a look at one that was already in existence in the township to maybe do it similar, that one is installed.
Okay. Well, that's great to hear, Joe. I've been wanting an excuse to go down, so now I have it. So thank you for that. Brian, I think too that we get Recreation Committee minutes from Madawaska, and I don't know, the process with the Whitney Recreation Committee, but I don't know if they're having meetings and these are decisions of committee or whatever. So just wondering process here.
Yeah, I'm not sure that the Whitney Rec Committee has resumed its full meetings. I think they just kind of have informal conversations, but certainly I've indicated that it probably would be a good idea at this point that they probably, everyone else is starting to resume back to life as normal. I would encourage them to get back to having regular meetings so that at least they've got a formal process in place for which council can receive some information as to what they're doing and what their thoughts are on different activities going on.
And Brian, if I may suggest, and I apologize, I'm not a member of that committee, but there is already one bench down there that is in recognition of an individual in our community. And it's when you go into the Lester Smith building. And I'm thinking with those flower boxes there and maybe planning for the future, wouldn't it be nice if that was made accessible so that the children, if they are there working on the flower boxes, there is a paved area or a bricked area. So someone who requires a device to be mobile could also enjoy those gardens. And if those benches were there, then they might be more accessible to individuals that might have difficulty walking on the lawn to get to them or whatever. So just maybe a little bit more long range planning over the winter time into the spring for some work for that area might be something to bring back to the committee for consideration.
Is certainly accessibility is a concern. We've got requirements under the legislation to make spaces accessible. And I will go back to the accessible plan that we have and determine whether or not it's been identified. Certainly if it hasn't, it's something that probably should be put in the plan, and the plan should be given consideration annually as we're reviewing our budget requirements, and council can make a decision at that time. But certainly the rec committee may be interested in partnering in something down there as well.
And yes, and I mean, we could have children that are, this is for the children to do the growing and stuff, and there could be children with accessibility needs too. So anyway, thank you. I'd appreciate if that went back. So thank you, council, for your tolerance here. I appreciate it. So now,
Jane, can I just add to that? Whitney Rec Committee, I know, have actively been working sort of under the scenes, so to speak. They have agreed to water the plants that the school has put with the raised beds, and they're going to do that through the summer. Now the children are not around, and obviously they needed water, and so the school has accessed a couple of large water tanks, and the fire department at Whitney or whoever's passing are filling those tanks as well. So there is a lot of community spirit with regards to growing, for vegetation, for flowers, for planting. And I think this is really nice for for the local children to be part of this. So I know, Whitney Rec have put all this together and agreed to help out here, but without any recognition coming forward. So well done for them.
Thank you for that information. Again, I'm going to make another comment. I hope, again, if this had been planned, I'm sure there's access to water at the Lester Smith building via a hose. And I sincerely hope they're not those big white containers that have aluminum around them. It's just,
They're up at the school. So yeah, they're in the school grounds. So against the fencing.
I think I would ask staff to reach out and discuss this. To me, we've got one here and I want it as far back in the bush as possible. I would rather have a garden hose there, and I can't imagine that there isn't some way through the Lester Smith building that we couldn't have a garden hose there. But anyway, if that has been arranged, it should have been arranged through the Recreation Committee to the township, then to the fire department. So I think process is, I'm not trying to diminish it, but.
I think they're in the school, actually in the back of the school grounds, for the school planters that they've put in place. Not actually in the park. I think it's part of the school. Yeah.
Okay, great. That's good. And see, that's why I would think a planning process would be good for this for furthered, so that if they do need water, let's put it in as a hose. Okay, thanks, Sandra. Okay, sorry.
If I could let you know, there's been one for a month now at I guess it's Gaylary Lake Crescent at those flower box or those vegetable boxes there.
Okay.
And speaking of vegetable boxes, I thought the ones at the Lester Smith building were to be vegetable gardens, and they appear to be flower gardens. Am I wrong in thinking that?
I don't know. We don't have the plan, sort of. So
anyway, sorry.
Yeah, no, Richard, I'm just saying, I think,
I hear you about those buckets though.
Yeah, enthusiasm is great, and I don't want to diminish any of this in any way, but I think some planning sessions with the township and with the rec committee and let's pull it together so it looks good, and all children are able to participate in the processes, etc. So anyway, thank you, Brian, and staff and council. So we are now at number 15, motions of council. So Carla will get going through these, please. Where are they here? Okay. So shall I let you do the mover and seconder and go ahead and read them, please, Carla?
Okay, I require a mover for the first one.
I'll move it.
And a seconder.
I'll second it.
Moved by Councillor Florence, seconded by Councillor Harper, that the Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin authorizes staff to proceed with the application received for the purchase of the unopened shore road allowance in front of concession 12, part lots 4 and 5, RP 36R 4003. Part 2, parcel 24036 in the geographic township of Dickens, locally known as 3192 Aylen Lake, as circulated in the council package.
All in favor? Opposed? It's carried.
I have a question about that maybe Councillor Rodnick could answer. Is that a water access lot?
I believe it is.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I forgot to ask for discussion. I'll do that next time around. Thanks, Joe. Go ahead, Carla.
Mover, please.
Move it.
Seconder.
I'll second it.
Moved by Councillor Rodnick, seconded by Councillor Shala, that the Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin authorize staff to proceed with the application received for the purchase of the unopened shore road allowance in front of Dickens Plan M333, Lot 9, Parcel 21144 Nipissing in the geographic township of Dickens, locally known as 26 Moose Track Lane, as circulated in the council package.
Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Okay, next one.
A mover, please.
I'll move it.
I'll second.
Thank you. Moved by Counselor Bongo, seconded by Counselor Collins, that council for the corporation of the Township of South Algonquin authorize staff to proceed with a housekeeping zoning bylaw amendment to the comprehensive zoning bylaw 2017-527.
Any discussion? Calling the vote, all in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Go ahead.
A mover
Next
for the next one.
I'll do it.
Seconder.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Moved by Counselor Florent, seconded by Counselor Rodnick, that council authorize spending the funds necessary to bring the 2 used fire trucks purchased this year into service for minor paint and any necessary equipment or repairs, and that those funds come first from the sale of the chief's truck. Further, should additional funds be required, that those funds come from reserve. Further, that the fire chief report back to council on the total cost of bringing each truck into service and the value of any reserve funds which were used to do so.
Discussion?
I think most of that discussion's already taken place in his report.
That was good. All in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Next one, Carla.
Mover,
I'll move it.
and a seconder, please.
I'll do it.
Moved by Counselor Shala, seconded by Counselor Florent, that the township purchase a 2022 Ford Escape SE all-wheel drive from Summers Brothers Ford in Killaloe at a total price of $32,204 plus applicable taxes, and that the funds to be taken from the general reserve.
Discussion? Hearing none, call the vote. All in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Okay, next.
I require a mover
I'll move it.
and a seconder.
I'll do it.
Moved by Counselor Bongo, seconded by Counselor Florent, that council for the corporation of the Township of South Algonquin awards tender SA 2022-02, supply, mix, and placement of winter sand to RJ Sell and Sons Limited in the amount of $31,527, including HST.
Any discussion?
I just have a question for Dave. Who
Go
are
ahead.
Cell? Who is Cell? Who are they?
Dave's not here, but RJ Sell is Ralph Sell. And he operates primarily, I believe, out of Bonisher Valley Township, but I believe he's got pits up this way in Barry's Bay and such.
Okay, any further questions, discussion? Hearing none, I would call the vote. All in favor? Any opposed? It's carried. Okay. Go
Okay, a
ahead.
mover,
I'll do that.
I'll second it.
thank you. Moved by Counselor Florent, seconded by Counselor Collins, that council for the corporation of Township of South Algonquin accepts the 2022 road inventory and condition assessment provided by Dual Engineering, Inc. and revised on June 29th.
Discussion? I'll call the vote. All in favor? Opposed? It's carried.
A mover, please.
I'll do that. It was my suggestion to bring it forward, I think.
Yes, and a seconder.
I'll second it.
Moved by Counselor Florent, seconded by Counselor Shala, that council for the corporation of the Township of South Algonquin supports the town of Aurora's resolution that calls upon the House of Commons to support Member of Parliament Anu Dillon Private Member Bill C-233 that will raise the level of education on domestic violence and coercive control for federally appointed judges.
Any discussion? Hearing none, call the vote. All in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Okay. Next, we have a bylaw. Is this the bylaw? Yes.
Nope, there's still a
No,
couple
okay,
resolutions.
sorry.
One more.
Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Mover, please.
I'll do that one as well.
And a seconder.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Florence, seconded by Councillor Bongo. The Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin supports the Township of Greater Madawaska's Resolution Number 131-22, passed on June 20th, 2022, that requests the Province of Ontario to amend Ontario Regulation 38004 under the Emergency Management and Civil Protection Act to provide an exemption to the annual exercise requirement for municipalities that have activated their emergency control group and/or emergency response plan in response to an actual emergency that year, and recognition of the significant resources used to respond to the emergency and the effectiveness of such response in evaluating the municipality's emergency response plan and procedures.
Any discussion? Hearing none.
Again,
call-
this was in Brian's report, but it's redundant to do an exercise on an activity that you've already had an actual event. So it's just a little bit of cost saving for those townships that have had a natural disaster, or not a natural disaster, any disaster.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. What better learning experience, unfortunately, than an actual occurrence. Anyway, calling the vote on that one. Everyone, all in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Okay, now the bylaws, Carla. Thank you.
Oh, there's still one more resolution.
Oh, you're kidding. Where am I? I apologize.
That's okay. And I require a mover
I'll move it.
and a seconder.
I'll second.
Moved by Councillor Bongo, seconded by Councillor Collins, that Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin supports the Township of Machitowan's Resolution 2022-148, passed on June 15th, 2022, supporting the inclusion of the mailing addresses of voters on voters lists provided to candidates.
Any discussion? Call the vote. All in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Thank you. Agenda item number 16. Are there any notice of motions? Hearing none. Agenda item number 17, bylaws. Carla, go ahead, please.
Mover, please,
I'll move it.
and a seconder.
I'll second it.
Moved by Councillor Harper, seconded by Councillor Bongo, that bylaw 2022-713 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council.
Call the vote on that. All in favor? Opposed? It's carried.
Mover,
I'll make the motion.
seconder.
I'll second it, Carla.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Florence, seconded by Councillor Collins, that bylaw 2022-713 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council.
Any discussion?
Okay.
Go ahead. Hearing none.
He deemed read a third time and passed.
All in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Agenda item number 18, there is no requirement to move into a closed session. So agenda item 19, adjournment. Carla, go ahead, please.
A mover
I'll move it.
and a seconder.
I'll second it.
Moved by Councillor Bongo, seconded by Councillor Rodnick. The Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin adjourns the regular council meeting of July 6, 2022 at 10:33 a.m.
All in favor? Carried. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy your